episode of the Javelina Coaches Show on the Mendoza's Pharmacy Javelina Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in. And our first guest to get this week's Coaches Show started is our head Javelina volleyball coach, Tanya Allen. Coach, thank you for taking some time out once again.
Thank you for having me.
Coming off a milestone weekend for you, you became the first coach in the history of this volleyball program to get to 100 conference wins. That happened on Friday. And I remember I asked you after the match, you talked about how much how it was meaningful, but so much of the credit, you said, should also go to players, staff, administration. What was it like for you overall, kind of being able to reach a milestone like that?
It's exciting, and you know, we all like to win. Winning's good across the board, and so it was a nice accomplishment, I feel like, for the program. 100 wins is a lot of winning, and I think, you know, it goes on my resume, but there is so many people that made it happen. You know, in all reality, I had very little to do with it. The athletes and my staff, and you know, the support of the administration over the last few years to really grow it has really made a tremendous impact.
I remember I had the opportunity to write a story about your time here before the spring season, because you'd been here for 10 seasons, and you talked about how much adversity there was going back to your first year here, and how much you kind of had to fight through that, but at the same time keep growing, keep building, keep moving everything forward. When you look back at that and then coming all the way here from there, what are some of the memories and some of the things that stick out in the course of that journey?
When I first started here, it was hard. It was pretty hard. Those first few years were very difficult. Within my career, that was a very big challenge that I had to overcome. Just kind of putting it in the minds of the athletes and the people around here that we were going to win. Changing the culture was difficult. Obviously, you have to recruit high-level athletes, and then you have to maintain that success, and you have to be able to grow those athletes, and growth is difficult across the board. So it was difficult for the kids to kind of grow and change, and it was difficult for the staff and for the support. But once we kind of got over that hump and people started to believe in the program, since then it's just been a grind as far as developing skill, developing that competitive mentality. And the last few years, looking back, it's just no comparison to what it was. I mean, now we're talking about how we want to maintain regionally ranked status, where before it was like, let's try to win a game. Let's try to, you know, the bar has been raised quite a bit. You look back, we went to Nicaragua. That was a huge accomplishment. When we were first regionally ranked, that very first team, that was a huge accomplishment. You know, winning the first round of the LSC tournament a few times, those were huge accomplishments. So we're really making strides, and I feel like we are on the up.
I also remember you saying that when you first got here, there were so many people who their biggest concern with the volleyball program was were they going to make it to the football game on Saturday.
Yes.
And when you look at the steps that this program has taken forward, what were like the most important milestones, the most important steps in that process, you think?
I think becoming more visible helps. You know, I've been here long enough that I feel like a few people kind of recognize me and know who I am, and
I hope it's more than a few.
Well, a few here and there, enough that I think they recognize that the program is more successful than just wins. We're winning on the court, but we're graduating kids. Our kids are really good people, and they're out in the community doing things and helping. And you know, I've had good assistant coaches who are very public and out and friendly and meet faces, and I think that kind of ties to the overall success of the program. I still get occasional, hey, we'll come to your game, but the football game, we need updates, or we're going to go ahead and watch the football game on our phone. You know, we still get that, but at least they're there, and at least they're recognizing the program. And so we're taking those steps, and we keep moving forward to try to have the support of everybody.
And it was obviously a weekend for you guys at home where there was excitement over the milestone, and I know there was disappointment for you guys on Saturday. What will be the first priority for you and your team when you get in practice this week?
Well, we've had some injuries. I can't think of one person on the roster right now who doesn't have something that they're nursing, that, you know, some kind of pain that they're working through. So it's been difficult because we had a pretty good thing going. We seem to be going well, and then these injuries have kind of kicked in, and so we've had to change things up the last few weeks. And I think at this point, the only thing we can do is preach, you know, tough-minded strength. I mean, we've got to fight through those things. Just because it's not what it was in the beginning, or just because it's now a little bit more challenging, we can't give up. We can't let that be a reason that we don't win games. So we're really pushing them to be a little bit tougher and to improve really fast because we can't help the injuries. There's nothing we can do about that. We just have to try to figure out another way to win.
How much of that with the injuries and the bumps and bruises is just part of something that every team goes through over the course of a long season?
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, every team is probably fighting off, fatigue and injury. I think we've been a little more unlucky than most in that it's pretty much our entire roster, and a couple of the kids, their season ending or really put an impact on whether they could play this semester very much. So that hurts our depth quite a bit. I mean, even if those kids aren't in the lineup, if they're out constantly, it really hurts our depth. So that puts more of a workload on the rest. And then we have a lot of pretty much forever injuries, things that they're going to have to deal with the pain forever. It's just a combination of things. It's part of the sport. People get hurt, and you have to nurse injuries. You have to take care of your body. We preached that at the beginning of the year, like, hey, listen, you're gonna feel it, all the traveling and stuff. So you've got to take care of it now. And a lot of times they don't learn that lesson until they're hurt. Then they want to take care of it. So it's part of college. It's part of teaching them and growing.
Now you guys will be taking a very long road trip this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You have Eastern New Mexico and West Texas on the schedule before you guys come home again the week after for St. Edward's and St. Mary's, and part of that weekend, of course, will be Senior Day,
Mm-hmm.
and you have 4 seniors that you're going to honor: Capri Pele, Megan Merlino, Alexa Ruiz, Kelsey Lukenbach. When you get to this point in the season for these seniors, where it's the stretch run, at least for the regular season, is there a point in time, or is there ever a time where you try and emphasize, especially to the seniors, hey, take some time and enjoy this because it's going to be gone pretty soon, and for so many players, I think it goes by so fast.
I don't often say that. Sometimes I guess I may throw that in, but I think they know it more than anybody. You don't have to tell them, appreciate these moments. They very much know their time is dwindling away. A lot of times it's actually the opposite. We try to just relax. Like it's not, this doesn't have to be the very last swing you take, because that's a lot of pressure, and I think it can kind of build up. If you're recovering from an injury and it's your senior year, there's more pressure. If you're not in the starting lineup and you want to be in the starting lineup, if you're a senior, there's more pressure. So, just in general, you want to perform your best. You're at your oldest, so there's more pressure. So I think we try to avoid saying you're a senior, take advantage of this, because they already know that.
Well, Coach, best of luck this week. Go have some fun on the road, and we can't wait to see you back at the Spec the week after for St. Edward's and St. Mary's. But thanks for the time. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
We'll take our first break on the Javelina Coaches Show. Our head Javelina football coach, Michael Salinas, is up next, so stay tuned. Javelina Coaches Show. We appreciate you tuning in on the Mendoza's Pharmacy Javelina Sports Network, and be sure to check back in every week for new episodes of the Coaches Show. We're joined by our next guest, and as our head Javelina football coach, Michael Salinas. Hello again, Coach.
How are you, Mark?
I'm doing good. I hope you're doing as well as I am after that long, arduous drive back from Western New Mexico. But one of the things I said to you after the game was it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but I left out mentioning you guys still went on the road and got a win in conference, which is not easy to do in the LSC. What were the main things you took away from your team's play on Saturday?
I think anytime you step back, it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. So after evaluating the tape and evaluating the game, I think our guys played hard. I'm still proud of their effort. Execution, like we've talked about, just has to go up a little bit, and then we got to eliminate some penalties. But all in all, I was proud of their effort. Just want to play cleaner, and selfishly, as a football coach, you want your guys to be perfect. So we got to continue to focus on the little things this week to continue to move forward and get better.
You had an opportunistic defense on Saturday, and that's one of the things that you guys have done in the games you've played well, is you've had a defense that's created turnovers, that's been opportunistic and created opportunities for your offense. What have been the keys for your defense in creating turnover opportunities this season?
Our defensive staff, Coach Petty and our defensive staff, have done a good job emphasizing turnovers. We wanted to be plus in the turnover margin, and we feel like going on the road, you got to take great care of the football, and then if you can create some turnovers, gives you a better chance to win the football game. So we've stressed that with our guys, and I think we were fortunate Saturday to get out with 3.
You had an offense that had a great first drive on Saturday, converted, I think it was 4 third downs and a 4th down 2, punched it into the end zone, and converted a couple more opportunities and turnovers in the first half. What did you think of the way your offense started on Saturday?
Well, I think we had about 44 plays in the first half and played well on offense. We moved the ball, got in the end zone, took advantage of some opportunities. In the second half, I think we had 15 plays. So we had some mishaps on special teams. We gave them the ball back on a punt return that hit one of our guys on a bounce, and then gave them a ball back on an onside kick. So just didn't have the same opportunities in the second half. So we just got to get better and clean up specials to allow our defense to stay off the field.
I thought you mentioned those two mishaps. Two of them on those two things were two bang plays where they just as well could have gone your way on whether the onside kick actually made it 10 yards before it got touched or whether the punt hit their guy before it hit your guy. But other than that, you had Jason Gaines with a long punt return. All the extra points went through. Karch Casper had a good day on kickoffs. And then you had Jacob Cavazos, who, in addition to scoring a touchdown, dropped a bunch of punts inside the 20, including one that rolled down to the 1. What were the things that you liked about the way your team has played on special teams?
Our emphasis is to make a difference on specials every week, and I think our guys did that. Like I said, there was just two mishaps that really hurt us. The punt that hit our guy, and then not recovering the onside kick, and then we had one penalty on a block in the back on a big, which would have been about a 75-yard punt return that got us down to the 1. So we just got to get better in those areas and play cleaner and be a little bit smarter. But again, they're effort penalties. They're not dumb penalties, so we can live with that. We just got to continue to get better and focus on all the little things going into this week. Obviously,
Vasos, nice to see him get into the end zone on Saturday. How long have you guys sort of had that play in your back pocket, and how much has he been looking forward to finally getting the chance to run that?
Well, I think for the kids, from a kid's aspect or our players' aspect, Jacobs was excited to get in the game and execute that, but it's something we've had in the plan for all of our quarterbacks. Just felt like it was an opportunity to get him in there and see if he could make something happen, and we got in on that one.
You've seen, I think we talked about this before, but the number of snaps on defense from Marco Noriega has gone up a lot over the course of the last few weeks. What were the things that you've seen from him in practice and over the course of the first part of the season to let you know that he was ready to take advantage of the opportunity to become a starter?
Marco has been steady in his progress and his work to this point. Kirkland Joseph has been out with an injury, so Marco and Gio Williams have had to step up, and Marco has just done a good job. The both of them have done a good job just taking advantage of an opportunity. We have a next man up philosophy, and we talk about that. So we ask all of our guys to prepare like starters because you don't know when your opportunity is going to come. And fortunately for Marco and Gio, those guys have put some work in and prepared to be ready for an opportunity.
You get to come home again this week for West Texas. This will be homecoming, and the team will get to wear some throwback uniforms, which I'm going to bet they're pretty excited about. Those are some of the nicest uniforms any of our teams get to wear here. And we're going to try and have a packed house on Saturday. How much do you feel like your team is looking forward to this Saturday's game?
I think they're prepared and ready to be back at home, obviously after a long road trip. But it's homecoming. We've talked about eliminating distractions. We're excited to get some folks back in town and coming back to Kingsville. So we encourage all of our ex-Javelinas to get back. Our players would love to see you in the stands, and we need everybody's help to get this done. But I think it's going to be an exciting week for our players, and we're going to work to prepare to put a product on the field Saturday that gives us the best chance to win.
What makes West Texas a really challenging opponent?
I think they're a good football team. They're well coached. I think Coach Hughes has been there about 5 years now and has his sort of program and plan in place. They're doing a good job offensively. They got a quarterback that's a returner that's done a great job for them. And defensively, they're solid in what they do. So it's going to be a challenge. They're 3-2 in conference and 4-4 overall, but I think they're a really good 4-4 football team right now.
I think we're all looking forward to finally seeing you guys in WT lock heads on Saturday. And again, it's a 7 p.m. kickoff. We want everybody in white. We're trying to white out Javelina Stadium on Saturday. So be sure to mark the calendar and bring a white T-shirt with you on Saturday. We want for the Javelinas against the Buffs. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time out. Go have some fun on Saturday.
Thank you, Mark. We'll see you.
And we appreciate everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Javelina Coaches Show. We'll be back again next week with another lineup of guests. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in.